Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of Ahch-To Radio, crossing with the Mandatorian Creed, our sister show here. We're back for more Lego excitement. It feels like we just did this, and time is weird for Terrifying Tales, but we're back already, and that's a good thing because I hope we keep getting more of these. I'm, as always, your host, Alden Diaz, joined by...
Tori Fox, as always.
Yeah.
Super agree. I'm so happy that there's another great Lego special to enjoy.
I know it was a huge surprise, you guys, over at the Star Wars Celebration panel that the new special was coming. Because in our Terrifying Tales interview, I know we jokingly asked you, we knew you couldn't say, but was it be a Valentine's Day thing? Would it be some sort of a New Year's party or something? And then it becomes summer vacation. So right off the bat, for both of you guys, what was the idea, the impetus for wanting to do a trilogy that rotated between the main trio? Because I didn't realize it until you said it at the Lego panel, which was, we did the Rey story, we did the Poe story, now we're doing the Finn story. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It sort of came out of it flowed very naturally. I think a lot of this stuff ends up being organic when you sort of sit down and kick around ideas. So just going all the way back when we were doing the holiday special, we really did feel like that was Rey's story. And when we were trying to figure out who we would frame Terrifying Tales around, just Poe's swagger kind of naturally made him our into a story about being scared and conquering your fears. And so then that really made us go, okay, so how can we tell, what is our story with Finn and what is that kind of heart moment around it? So as we were kind of wrapping on Terrifying Tales and we started saying, this is really fun and we want to do another one and what do we do next? And we started talking about, remember taking family vacations and remember the movie Vacation and being on those car trips. And, what would that look like if you were in the Millennium Falcon? What does it mean to go on a beach trip in Star Wars? And how can we sort of set that up? And then we knew we really liked that format. We landed on Terrifying Tales of sort of telling 3 mini stories set within the various places in the timeline wrapped around, the episode 9 or the sequel trilogy's cast. And so then we landed on that and felt like, Finn is exactly the person we can use to kind of be our in and be our guide on that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it made a lot of sense. His whole arc in the sequels, he's kind of like the glue, he's the heart, he's the one that makes them hold hands, he's the one that's at the center of the hug. So it really definitely tracked with everything that was happening. So, but I know that there's Finn, there's also Weird Al, there's also another song that I know Tori wanted to ask about.
That is my favorite thing ever. As far as I'm concerned, Gamorrean Girls is the song of the century. So question for both of you, what was that like writing it? What was it like recording it, putting it all together? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, Gamorrean Girls, I mean, that was fun because that was a song that was coming out of a story challenge as we were kind of doing this Mission Impossible style heist but also thematically talking about Obi-Wan and sort of getting Obi-Wan to relax a little bit and enjoy his vacation. So it was working with the composer, Michael Kramer, who's been our composer on all 3 specials. And I had written some basic lyrics and then we sort of sat and said, how do we turn this into a pop song? And we kind of were thinking about summer hits and going from there. So it was such a treat to do. And then recording was great because I remember Ken, right? Like we put James Arnold Taylor, our Obi-Wan, we put him through the ringer and just we're like,
yeah.
He was really doing it in pieces and he was so game. And I'm pretty sure like there's a line, he goes Utini and Didi that I feel like he improv and threw that in on the day and it was just
I love that.
Great. But you should talk about Ken, your visual.
Yeah, well, I mean, what was cool about it too, like we decided fairly early on that it would be super, like, because normally you score after the fact, right? Like, so we would do it and then sort of score it after. And I sort of felt like it was really important to do the song and have the song while I was like boarding. So we did it like way ahead of when we normally would. So I had the material while we were working through boards and layout and stuff. So we were able to like I was able to direct to the music, which was great. And yeah, I mean, I've been joking about it for a while with David, but I've always wanted to do a musical. Like I have prior to animation, I was a professional dancer. So it's something I've always kind of wanted to do. So like when the opportunity came up, I was just so excited. Like I sort of remember I don't know, David, if this was actually the impetus of the idea or you guys were playing with it at the time, but we were on a pickup session for the Halloween special, and David and Josh started texting me this gag about this Saturday Night Live special that Carrie Fisher had been on and done this beach.
Yes.
Yeah, so like, you know, like, and I was like, oh my God, like it'd be so great to, you know, and then it happened. And so like, yeah, when I got the script, I was like, oh my God, I've got to go watch a bunch of Baz Luhrmann films and, you know, like sort of channel some of that. And we didn't get into full on dance number. We did do some boarding of that, but we had to cut it for time. But yeah, that was so much fun to work through.
Let the record show that Baz Luhrmann was brought up in relation to Obi-Wan singing. It's not lost on us. It's not lost on us.
Absolutely not.
I love that you caught that. If you hadn't pointed that out, I was right there with you. That's,
It's so right there. If you just casually slid in that I used to be a pro dancer, I want to ask about all of those stories as much as I want to ask about these. It's fascinating. But David, you were saying something before.
Oh no, I just was glad, Tori, that you dug both the songs, and yeah, let's make them hits of the summer.
They're on the playlist.
That's awesome.
I never thought that it would be 2022 and have new Weird Al in Star Wars as well, which is just, I mean, to get him, he seems game for anything, but like in a good way. But just to be able to say that you have him in a scene with like Palpatine is hilarious.
100% agree with you, and everything you said is correct. He was completely game for everything. Getting to hear him sing, and you know, having him sing the words that I wrote is just, and Michael wrote this incredible music for it. Like that's a career highlight.
It's crazy. It is. And then equally crazy is this huge synergy that has happened with the Halcyon cruiser, which is obviously the setting of Galactic Star Cruiser. It stretches back hundreds of years. It goes all the way to our sequel characters. Right now, we're reading a novel about Leia and Han's honeymoon that's on the ship. So what was it like taking that physical asset, transferring it over into the Lego style, has its own lore? How did you run with that?
You know, for us on the writing side, it was about these characters are on vacation. Oh, we have this great vacation setting, and a cruise ship in particular is a really nice place, both because there's places to explore, but also we knew we kind of early on wanted to split the team so that we could kind of follow Finn on his solo journey, and that's a very great logical place to do it. And then, well, Ken, you should, I don't know, I still to this day don't know how you guys managed to translate real world.
I mean, that was like, well, I mean, we were really lucky that, you know, the hotel was being designed, so we got access to you know, some of that concept design, and then there was some back and forth between my art director Kevin Chai and the Lego team, and trying to, like, you know, craft this ship, like the exterior and what it should look like. And so yeah, we sort of pulled from a whole bunch of places to design it and make it come to life.
The detail's amazing. It's really cool to kind of see the translation of like photos. I haven't been there yet, but like the photos on the internet. And
but if you guys
special.
have like
Very
10
cool.
grand, we could all go together.
Are you guys treating? That'd be awesome. No, it looks amazing. I can't wait to go. I'm so
Lego and friends trip. I think that's necessary for sure.
This question's for both of you again. I have to say I had a gasp out loud moment. Like seeing Ghost Ben Solo, I think was a big thing for a lot of fans. I think there are a lot of people that have, I guess, always wondered, did Leia ever see her son again or be with her son again? And having that moment was very special. How did that come about?
So it's a little bit of, honestly, in this case, reverse engineering. We knew we wanted to tell this family vacation story with the Organa Solos. That was how it started. As a matter of fact, that of those three stories, that was the first that I kind of brainstormed and did. And once we went there, and we by that point had sort of known we wanted to have Force Ghosts telling the story, so it felt like Leia would be the natural person to tell that story. And as we got there, we said, oh, this would be a nice reunion to see. So it becomes one of those things you sort of A leads to B leads to C, and then once you get it, you're like, oh, it feels like the most natural thing, I was gonna say in the world, but I guess in the galaxy. So it was nice to have that. It was really nice to get to put that on the screen.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely cool in the sense that it was able to tie sort of that unseen era that we're just now unpacking in novels and in the Book of Boba Fett. Like, oh, we're getting to see Luke's school, and we got that glimpse of that. But also the parents dropping someone off at school element that was thrown into it, and how that was the through line. And you could see as a ghost, he appreciates it, even if maybe when he was a kid, he didn't understand it, which was a cool through line. Looking back on those vacations is such a huge element of this. Like, that's what all the ghosts are doing. Like, I remember this, trying to teach Finn to be present, which I thought was like a valuable lesson for kids.
Thank you. Yeah, that we really leaned into that. And I mean, it was all us talking about our family vacations, and you know, also that one in particular was sort of a little bit of like the end of the summer kind of feeling. The end of summer, you're going off to school, like summer camp is over. Like that is a very, I think that's a moment we've all gone through as kids in some form or the other. And it's bittersweet. I mean, it's real. So we, you know, we're doing Lego Star Wars, but we really do try to inject real, actual emotion into these characters. And so I'm glad it landed, because that was what we were going for.
Oh, I cried.
Good. All right. Awesome.
I cried.
Sorry, I cheered a little too hard on that. Good God.
Yeah. Well, no,
You did.
I mean,
It's okay. You did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome to hear, because I mean, I don't, like, for me personally, I'd say that's kind of, you know, that the hug, like, that was kind of my favorite, like, to get to, and you don't get to do stuff like that in animation very often, like, to you know, really try and pull hard like that. So yeah, that it landed is really gratifying to hear.
Because it's sort of like, you know, and it felt like we were witnessing that sort of mentality. Like, when the scene is coming together, one of my favorite just visual little gags is BB-8 with a towel and a single cucumber slice in his eye. And like, you go from that, and then it's like we strip away everything, and it's just the characters. Like, you almost forget that they're Lego in that moment. It doesn't matter. It's just a good story. Right. And with that, you've brought together so many different eras. Were there newer things like you know, the Book of Boba Fett music cue, or things like using the current Obi-Wan minifig for the current series? Like, what was some of the new stuff that you were most excited about including?
You're going to make Josh Rhimes at Lucasfilm very happy that you caught that Boba Fett music cue. That was all Josh. He's like, when Boba Fett, we've got to get that in. And we're like,
it was incredible. It's the first time we've heard it outside of that show.
I screamed.
You guys, seriously, you made his year.
I'm glad.
Because I mean, again, it's one of the things I think I said earlier. It's like, people say we should do this. Like, oh yeah, we have to do that. So yeah, we knew it by the time we were working on this, that the Obi-Wan series was coming out. We wanted to be able to honor that, and got a little sneak peek at the minifig so that it would fit that. I mean, it was funny. Didn't, you know, they still, like, we didn't really know the story. We knew the sort of log line, you know, Obi-Wan's going to go off on an adventure and is on Tatooine. So that's more than enough to kind of tell the story that we were telling. In my head, at least, this happened moments after the end of the series.
Oh, love that. In my head, I was like, I wonder whereabouts this could be. Yeah. That's awesome.
That was in my head. I mean, it could play before too, but he's exhausted.
He needs a vacation.
He needs a vacation. Yeah.
But I mean, that's also, David, like, one of the cool things about getting to work on this, like, purely from a fan perspective, because we're both, you know, big fans, and you get to see this material, you know, and before it's sort of out in the world. And yeah, it's really, like, you know, really, yeah, it's just so great to, you know, dig into the archive and get to, yeah, it's amazing having access to see all that stuff.
Well, that reminds me, Kim, we said the archive is, you know, so doing the sound mix, you know, you're doing it at Sky Sound, it's with the whole crew, and sort of, it's like, you know, you'll say things like, oh, is there a more plaintive Wookiee roar? And, you know, they're bringing up this, this is the stuff that's been around since 19. So they're like, hang on, how about this or this? Or, and you're just like, you know, you're working with these brilliant people that you've admired. Like, it's incredible. And I mean, I think about a dozen times, Ken and I would just look at each other and be like, sorry, I whispered, can you believe we're doing this? That's not gonna,
we get paid for this.
Anyway, that's what I whispered. That's not gonna play over Zoom at all. I'm new to this medium. I don't know.
Well, we only have about a minute left. So Tori, if you want to rip this last one here.
Yeah. Is there an area of Star Wars that you maybe haven't touched, like High Republic or Star Wars Visions, some of the newer stuff that's come out? Is there something that you'd like to incorporate later on down the road that you really like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm it's all great. Like you, I'm a huge fan, and getting to play with in any of this is great. So yeah, it would be really fun. I mean, I have only just started on High Republic, and I will confess, there's an embarrassment of riches if I'm still catching up on the comic book. So
it's a lot of content.
It's a lot, and that is not a complaint. That is,
oh no,
young me is very jealous of old me, that old me gets so much stuff to play with. So it's all out there. I would do any of it for as long as they'd have me back.
oh, love that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. Thank you again to David Shayne and Ken Cunningham. Hopefully we'll do
Thank
this
you.
again soon with another surprise special that you've already made and I can't talk about.
Fingers crossed.
Make it happen. I'll speak it into existence.